Okay, this video is going to kind of review fraction operations, so adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. So naturally, we're going to talk about pizza. All right, so fractions. I have a pizza, okay? I want to cut it into 2 slices, so obviously each one is 1/2. All right, then you have some more friends come over, and let's say we take that same pizza. It's magically pepperoni now, but it's the same size pizza. And we cut it into 4 slices, okay? And I want to give my friend one of these slices, okay? Whenever you add slices or take away slices, you want to make sure they're the same size pieces. So I'm going to use this 1/4 as an example, okay? If I were to cut a pizza secretly, and it was like this, where if you can kind of see where the pieces are, let me get that out of the way. In a box, a pizza, I haven't opened it yet to show my friends. This is how I've cut up a pizza. And I tell my little brother that he's going to get one of these slices, and he's all excited, so I give him this slice. Okay? Then I tell my sister I'm going to give her a slice, so I give her this slice. And then I say, okay, and I'll get the remaining slice. They're not going to have a problem with it until I open up the pizza and I say, this is my slice. Okay? You need to make sure that all the sizes of the pizza are the same. Whenever you're adding or subtracting parts of a fraction, you want to make sure they're the same size piece. So if you look here, they all have the same numerator. They're all a 1, but our denominators are different. In this one, the denominator is 2. In this one, the denominator is 4. So I want to make sure they all are the same size pieces, meaning they have the same denominator if I'm ever adding or subtracting these pieces. So that's a really good way to kind of remember when you do fraction operations, when you're finding the sum or the difference of fractions, you want the pieces to be the same size, meaning you want them to have the same denominator or common denominator. Otherwise, you're going to have some upset friends or brothers and sisters. So to find the sum, again, we know sum means to add of 2 or more fractions. What do you need to do? Well, I'll show you a little picture. Here's 3/4, okay? A pizza cut into 4 equal pieces, 3 of those shaded. And here's 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I know it's not the best picture, it is a sketch. But if you see, you can see pretty easily, they are not the same size pieces. I don't want to add these pieces to these pieces because they are different sizes. That denominator means nothing unless they are all the same size. So I need to find a common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this problem. We'll use green. So 3/4 plus 7/8 is what I want to add together. I have a problem right now because they have different denominators. So I'm going to find the LCD, or the least common denominator. Okay, so if you need to kind of do this off to the side, my denominators are 4 and 8. I know a lot of you can probably already see what the common denominator is going to be, but in case you get more ugly, if you will, or more difficult numbers, this will give you the process of how to do it. So the multiples of 8 are 8, 16, they go on and on forever. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, on and on and on, but I can stop. I can see very easily right now that the least common multiple, or the least common denominator, is 8. So if I look at this 7/8, that's ready to go. I don't need to do anything to that fraction. I'm going to leave it as 7/8. This one, though, I need to make this denominator an 8. How am I going to make it an 8? Well, I'm going to multiply it by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. If I multiply the denominator by 2, I have to multiply the numerator by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. All right? Now I'm ready to go. And I'm going to try to prove this to you. My picture might not be the best. That 3/4 is the same as 6/8. We're going to go to my 3/4 pizza. And remember, our goal was to get the common denominator. We wanted it to be in 8 slices. So here's my 3/4 pizza. I took those cuts, so those were already there, and I cut them into 8 equal slices. Okay, let's count and see how many are shaded now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 8 are shaded. So I took the same amount of pizza, I just cut it into 8 pieces or made the denominator an 8. Okay? All right, I'm ready to add. I have 6 of those size pieces, 6 eighths plus 7 eighths. When I add those together, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I get 13 eighths, right? We did all that work to find the common denominator. We're going to keep it. These pizzas are cut into 8 slices, 13 eighths. I can't simplify it, so that's my final answer. Now that is improper, and that's okay. You can change it to a mixed number. You could even draw a picture, right? I have eighths. I have 13 of those eighths. So here's 8 eighths, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I had one whole pizza and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those eighths left over. Or you can say, oh, 8 goes into 13 one time with 5 remaining. But notice, my denominator is always 8. Once I find that common denominator, that's the most important thing. All right? It is the exact same thing when you subtract. To find the difference means subtract. Okay? You might have to regroup a little bit, but that is another day's lesson. But you do the same thing. You need to find an LCD, or the least common denominator, on both of these. Okay? To find the product is actually super simple. We do it in probability all the time. When you find probability of a compound event, you have 2 fractions, you multiply it. Guys, you just multiply straight across. 5 times 8 is 40. 6 times 16, that's not a multiplication fact that I ever memorized. Some of you could do it in your head pretty quickly, but I get 96. And of course, you would want to simplify that. Figure out what is the GCF. What can I divide both of those numbers by? I'll give you a hint. I mean, you could divide them both by 2. They're even numbers, right? Find half of each and then keep simplifying. You can also do cross simplification. We're not going to get into that in this video. Guys, when you multiply fractions, just multiply straight across. 5 times 8 is 40. 6 times 16 is 96. As you do this more and more, you're going to find quicker ways, ways to simplify as you go. But that will get you the answer. Okay? To find the quotient of fractions, quotient means divide. All right? We'll do purple on this one. Okay? To find the quotient, there's lots of like little tricks to kind of remember the algorithm or the rules. Sometimes you'll hear KFC, which means keep, flip, change. I like to use CSI, copy, switch, invert. But no matter what, it's to remind you that this first fraction stays the same. So I'd say that's C for copy. So I'm just going to copy down that fraction, 6/7. I am going to switch this division symbol to a multiplication symbol. I am going to invert this fraction 1/6. When I say invert, I mean I'm going to flip the fraction. I'm going to write the reciprocal. This 1 goes to the denominator. This 6 comes up to the numerator. So 1/6 becomes 6/1. Okay? So I flipped, or invert is the better mathematician word for it. I invert this fraction or write the reciprocal. Okay? There's a way to prove why this works with modeling. That is another video at another time. But this is the algorithm that will work whenever you divide fractions. So then look at what you have. A multiplication question, which is, I think, the easiest thing to do with fractions. You just straight up multiply straight across. So 6 times 6 gives you 36. 7 times 1 gives you 7. I cannot simplify that, meaning I can't divide both these numbers evenly by any whole number, except for 1. So I get 36/7. Okay, that is an improper fraction. Again, you could say, oh, 7 goes into 36 how many times, and convert it to a mixed number. But as long as it's simplified improper, we are good to go for this video. Okay, so it just takes practice as you go through it. The only thing that I want to make sure that we're clear on, let's say that I have 3/4 of a pizza left. We're going to go back to pizza. That's what I do. 3/4 of a pizza, and you have 4 people you need to divide it among. That's a whole number 4. You need to write it in this format. So 3/4 divided by any whole number is over 1. So 4 over 1. And you're going to do the same thing. So you copy this, switch this to multiplication, and invert that second fraction. Okay? Fraction operations, they take practice. Just like you practiced when you multiplied, you learned your multiplication facts. Same kind of thing. Okay? So this video kind of reviewed what do you do with fraction operations. Have fun.